Hello folks, this is Mike, PC31 the Varna Policeman, and I've got way behind with threads and contests, and there's some brilliant ones going around at the moment, so I'm trying my best to catch up. Going to put two together today, as a lot of people are tending to do. Two of my favourite channels, two of the very best guys in the VC. So the first one's going to be for EmbryonicRobot, Brian, up in Toronto, and Brian, with his beautiful speaking voice, as smooth as silk, is very Shakespearean. The way he delivers is fantastic. Could be the next Sir John Gielgud. Absolutely wonderful, and got a fantastic record collection. Tastes really, really similar to mine. So his thread is 10 songs that I hate. So I don't think it's not overplayed. It's just quite simply 10 songs that you hate. And as Brian said, he could say thousands, and yeah, I could do quite a lot as well. But I've split it in two, actually. I've done 5, which are songs that I just don't like at all, hate. And then the next 5 are songs that I don't like, but from artists that I really, really like. So I've split that in two. Second one is for another channel, which is just absolutely superb. And that's Physical Format Rock and Roll Gary, Lord Gary of Ohio. Gary's got, the last count, I think he has got about 40,000 acres in Ohio. If you see some of his outside broadcasts, he's got this huge expanse of land behind him, and it's growing all the time. I mean, it's a massive estate he lives on. But Gary, another fantastic guy, superb taste, fantastic collection. I'm sure you've all subbed to those two guys because they're two of the best in the VC. But if you haven't, then, you know, you're missing out. You really, really must. And Gary's one is basically much more positive than Brian's. Is his 5 songs that are really overplayed, but that you still really love. So I'm going to do those as well. Before I do that, I had some wonderful VCLT during the week, and I've been so lucky this year with VCLT. This arrived. So, something very interesting. And what it was from Berwickshire Mike, another great guy, Berwickshire Mike, a real king punk. He knows just everything about punk. His knowledge is extensive, been to just so many gigs, seen everybody live basically. And he sent me this piece of artwork, certificate of authenticity. This is to certify that this artwork by Alex Riddell is authentic. Edition, it's all stamped. Edition number 27 of 75, and it's Joe Strummer in memoriam, the actual piece of artwork. That's the certificate of authenticity. And the actual artwork itself, which I'm going to get framed next week, which will go into my Joe Strummer shrine. That's that. Joe Strummer in memoriam. And so limited edition. This is number 27 of 75, Alex Riddell. So kind of Mike, Berwickshire Mike. It's absolutely superb. Mike has sent me some fantastic Joe Strummer things in the past, actually, which have become absolute treasures of my collection. And this is also now one of my absolute treasures. So thanks so much, Mike. Really so kind. Okay, EmbryonicRobot. So 10 songs that I hate. So the first 5. So I haven't got on any kind of format, so I'm just going to say what they are. Controversy, straight out the bat. Van Morrison, not a great lover of Van Morrison at all. Moondance, just a song that I've never liked. It's, when I hear it on the radio, it's a real switch off for me. Don't like it at all. So Moondance, which I know a lot of people absolutely love, but it's just not my cup of tea whatsoever. So Van Morrison is the first one there. And by the way, what I've gone for in these 10 is I've not gone for the low-hanging fruit like the boy bands and the lightweight pop, anything by Coldplay, because that could all go in. Liam Gallagher, most duets that Paul McCartney's been involved with, apart from the Fireman Project, which is wonderful, which I love that. But so this is all kind of, you know, serious artists, which I consider. The next one is a band that I just don't like whatsoever, and this is probably the epitome of this particular band. Dire Straits' Sultans of Swing. Just don't like that song at all. it's just soulless for me. It's just rambling drivel. The guitar playing, I don't like whatsoever. And again, a lot of people absolutely love it, but it's just not for me whatsoever. I don't like it. Next one, way back into the 60s. This is a song that when I first started playing guitar, kind of, everybody was playing it. It's in all the songbooks. It's very easy to play. And I've always found it an absolute dirge and never liked the song. And that's House of the Rising Sun by the Animals. Just never liked it. Never thought it was a very good song. Yeah, don't like it. This is quite low-hanging fruit, actually. It's so awful. But Europe's Final Countdown, it's just a grotesque song from 1986. Just so awful. So that's just straight in the bin without any talk at all. The Romantics, the 80s. I don't like Spandau Ballet at all. Hopeless. Don't like them whatsoever. And I think the epitome of their dreadful material is Gold. And the way it's sung, the way Tony Hadley sings it is just so awful. It's so pappy. It's just dreadful. And in the UK, it stayed in the charts for so long. Awful song, awful song. So that's the 5 of artists that I don't care for anyway. So, pretty easy. So the next 5 songs I don't like at all are from 5 artists that I really like. Some of my top artists. So I've been brutal with myself here. So the first one comes off of this album, Zeppelin 4, as you'll all recognise. And yeah, you've probably guessed it, Stairway to Heaven. I just can't listen to it anymore. When you hang around guitar shops through the kind of 70s, 80s, 90s, well, forever, so many people play Stairway to Heaven. Drives you insane. It's even banned in guitar shops. You're not allowed to play it. In a lot of shops, you've got to put money in a tin if you do dare to play it. But so overplayed, just really tedious for me now. Fantastic album. I mean, some of the tracks on this, Levy Breaks, 4 Sticks, Black Dog, etc. Wonderful album. But Stairway to Heaven, no, that's a jumper for me, I'm afraid. The next one is from another band I absolutely love. Superb band. And from a fantastic album. And nearly a perfect album for me. But this track, Andy Summers' Mother on Synchronicity. What on earth was going on? How on earth did they let Andy Summers get the track on this fantastic album with so many superb tracks on it? How did the producer, how did he let Mother get on this album? It's so awful. And I'm afraid Andy Summers did something similar on the best Police album for me, Outlandish and More, the debut, where Be My Girl, which, Be My Girl, I assume the Sting bit is great, but when Andy Summers kicks in, awful. And that's, again, perfect album other than that song for me. So Andy, you've got a lot to answer for. But so on this one, song I absolutely hate, Mother. Next one is from 1968, an album you might recognise. This is the First Press White album. Yeah, you all know what the track is. Revolution, number 9. Again, how did George Martin let it on? I guess it was just the force of Lennon's character, but how on earth did that get on the album? Shocking track. So I can't listen to that at all. It's awful. Number 9. Again, a band I love. Debut album from this band. And this album is just a perfect album. I don't actually dislike the song itself, but for me, it's just so out of place on the album, where it's the only cover on the album and it's the last track. And the band do it quirky, they do it differently, but I just don't want it on the album. B-52's debut, Downtown by Tony Hatch. It just is such a wonderful album, and that every track is so strong. And to stick that cover on at the end, I guess they were lacking material because it was the debut, but unnecessary. I just wish that track wasn't on it. And I don't dislike the track, but B-52s are just better than that. Okay, and my last one, and I said I was going to choose from most of my top favourite artists in this second half of this particular one, and it's Bruce, and it's working on it from the album Working on a Dream. Now, interestingly, Brian chose a track from this album Queen of the Supermarket, which I agree is a dreadful track. It's absolutely awful. But I've got another dreadful track on this album, and that's Surprise, Surprise. Just think it's a really poor bit of album fodder, and shouldn't have gone on. I just wish the producers would stand up to the big stars sometimes and say, no, it's not good enough, chuck it off. But unfortunately, yeah, Queen of the Supermarket and Surprise, Surprise made it onto this one, which weakened the album. And I did a ranking recently on Bruce, and this figured low, and that was one of the reasons. Right, okay, so the second part of this then, folks, is for Gary, Physical Format Rock and Rolled, Lord Gary of Ohio. Got about 60,000 acres of land, 75,000, something like that. It's growing all the time. Huge estate. 5 records, 5 songs that have been overplayed, but you still love. So, okay, yeah. So this one is, I've already shown this, Synchronicity, but the single, the huge single off of this, Every Breath You Take, I mean, #1 for years. I think it's just one of the finest pop songs ever written. Simple, just a phenomenal pop song, really superb. And although I've heard it so many times, it's been on so many programs, adverts, it's been everywhere, but I still think it's a fantastic song. So my first one is Every Breath You Take, written by Sting on Synchronicity, Police's last album. Next one, again, this is a song which Martin Scorsese has had in virtually all of his films. I mean, he absolutely loves it. Played everywhere. You see it in documentaries all the time. And it could be my favourite Rolling Stones album, song, and that's Gimme Shelter. Just heard it so many times. It's played so many different places. But when I hear the opening riff of Gimme Shelter, it's just superb. Absolutely magnificent. Never ever tire of it. Love it. As I say, maybe my favourite Stones song, which says a lot when you look at the number of fantastic songs that they've written over the years. Okay, number 3. Another one, there was a TV programme in the UK called this. Numerous adverts, just been around forever. From Bowie's Hunky Dory, Life on Mars. Never tire of it. Such a clever, atmospheric song. Wonderful lyrics, played brilliantly. Absolutely superb. So, Life on Mars. Never tire of it. Superb song. Superb song. This is the song which my wife absolutely hates, and I love. And again, it's been played to death, but I still love it. This is also played in guitar shops all the time, but I just love it. And it's Sweet Home Alabama. And I saw Skinner a couple of times in the 70s, right at the peak of it when they played it. And I just never tire of it. I think it's such a wonderful song, Sweet Home Alabama. Fantastic. Can't get enough. Right, okay. Another song played to death on the debut album. But it starts a lot of things in music. And that's on the Kinks debut album, 1964, You Really Got Me. And from those opening chords, you know what it is, and it's just a fantastic song. And when I play it, I still love playing it. It's just a simple song, but just fantastic, wonderful. And that was 5, but I've thrown 1 in for good measure, because when you look at kind of, there's a lot of punk acts who have one song which really sticks out. And whenever you hear that particular act, it's that one song people go to over and over. But this is a song which I absolutely love, and it's from the Ruts. The Ruts from their debut album, The Crack, and that's Babylon Is Burning. And just love that song. I just can't hear it enough times. It's fantastic. So, okay, so that's for Brian and for Gary. So hope you enjoyed that, folks. So leave some comments below. I expect some stick on Van Morrison and Dire Straits, etc. But I can handle it. Okay, speak again. Thanks.